Hey everyone, it's Nicole Spohr here today with a couple of interactive Just My Type cards featuring stamps, dies, and interactive components from Fawn. I absolutely love the reveal wheel, so anytime there's a new add-on for the reveal wheel, I always want to create cards with that. But this Your Just My Type stamp set also works with many of the other interactive, like almost every other interactive component from Fawn that there is, including the Let's Toast pull tab slider. So I'm going to create both a reveal wheel, and I'm going to be using the square window add-on with the rectangular reveal wheel, and I've die cut that from, this is the Hero Hues Peony cardstock, so a really light pink cardstock. And we're going to be creating the piece of paper coming out of the typewriter. We're going to be creating that scene for both cards. The reveal wheel is going to be first, and then we'll do the interactive pull tab slider second. Many of the components are going to be the same, including for the background, I am using this Simon Says Stamp Quilted Hearts background. And I'm going to stamp that with Lawn Fawn Ballet Slippers ink on the background for my card. This is kind of, I wanted to create my own tone-on-tone quote wallpaper to make the scene. And I love the little hearts in this because I think it ties in so nicely with the rest of our card. With the reveal wheel, I really need to make sure that I can line up the desk typewriter paper coming out of the typewriter, because that's what's going to change, and go from there. I've also die cut just a partial of that reveal wheel rectangle from some pattern paper. This is the Honeybee Stamps Home Essentials pattern paper, and one of the sheets has this great wood grain, which is what is going to be the hardwood floor in my scene, and on the other side is actually the white like siding, and I'm going to use that as a baseboard. So I'm going to just be piecing together now the baseboard and the flooring along the bottom edge of my background to kind of finish and round out the background of my reveal wheel scene card. In fact, I'm going to be doing the very same thing when I get to my second card. We're just going to be using something different than the reveal wheel for our rectangle. And I fiddled with this a little bit trying to get it lined up exactly. But it's super important to have that scene all spaced the way it needs to go, so that when you turn the reveal wheel, the paper's in the right area coming up out of that typewriter. And I did die cut a little too much for the flooring, and so I'm going to just trim that down. I believe it's about 1 inch. Then I'm simply going to just kind of remove all my stamps, flip this over, trim off any excess there from the baseboard, and we have our background scene all ready to go. Next, we are going to stamp all of our images for our scene on Bristol Smooth cardstock using a fade out no line coloring ink, and we're going to color them in with Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers. The images I'm using for the reveal wheel scene, the majority of them come from the Your Just My Type stamp set. That's the desk, the lamp, the back of the mouse, the typewriter. Then we've got a mouse from Wild For You, we have a mouse from ELPHIE SELFIE, and we have a cupcake, a pen or pencil, and a card and an envelope, and those are from the Just For You stamp set. What I did was kind of what I like to call shop my stash, finding images that were sized and would work with the You're Just My Type stamp set. And I love the little envelopes and the cards and the pencil, and even the cupcake. I thought, you know, a little snack while they're working on typing up their little love notes or whatever. Just all worked really well with the rest of the images that I was using. So I love that little stamp set. Kind of had forgotten about it, and as I was going through my stamps, I was like, this is going to be perfect. I am starting by coloring in my desk with Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers in Mid Brown and Oatmeal. And I'm going to keep working and blending these colors. I wanted my desk to be a wood colored desk, like a wood desk. You could do any color you want, but I kept the majority of my color in the cards with the accessories. So that's going to be the typewriter, the paper, the cards, the pencil, the lamp, the cupcake. Those images all are going to be super colorful. And probably my favorite Valentine's or love themed color combination, which is light pink, red, and mint or aqua. I love that color combination. But the desk is such a large image and such a focal point that I want to make sure the coloring is perfect. And I think it's amazing the results you can get with just 2 markers. This is just a mid brown, kind of tracing it out, and then the light brown, pulling that color out and blending. If something is a little too light, you can always go back in, add additional dark color. You're going to see me do that in several places in this design. And then just blending it all out. After I have done the desk, we are going to move on to the sheet of paper and the mouse. So this image, what I love in the add-on kind of for your Just My Type, it's called Love Poems. So it's 2 different sheets of paper. In your Just My Type, there are different images. There is a typewriter that has the paper in it. Then there's the typewriter we're using that doesn't have the paper in it. And then there's an individual sheet of paper. So you're getting tons of options here. I'm going to use the Love Poems, one of the mice and paper images from that, for both of my cards. But what I love is there's a die to die cut not only the outline, but the inside piece of this, so that you can make it more of a frame. When the reveal wheel turns, it's going to reveal the text or images inside. Same goes if you do not want to use one of these images with a mouse. You can always use the typewriter with the paper, and there is a die that will die cut the inside of just the regular paper to do the same thing. So really, the options are endless here. I think it's so amazing. I colored in my mouse with Platinum Brown and Cool Gray 1 with a little pink haze for the insides of the ears and the cheeks. And then Peach Pink and Sugared Almond Pink for the paper, and black pin detail for the eyes, nose, mouth, all of the good stuff there. I also used the black pin for detail on the desk drawers. And then we're going to color in the remaining mice. So the side-facing mouse, that is actually from ELPHIE SELFIE. And then the forward-facing mouse is from Wild For You. And I simply went through my stamp sets looking for additional mice. This card has only mice. My next card's going to have a cat and a mouse. I thought that would be kind of fun. But you could definitely use whatever critter images you want. And I love that you definitely don't have to use a mouse. So there are options. If you want to use other critters, you can go ahead and do that. Again, adding black pin detail to all of the faces, the eyes, the noses, and the mouths. The little cupcake from Just For You, I'm going to color in the top with peach pink and sugared almond pink. And then the base of the cupcake with turquoise green and green shadow. And then I'm going to go in with my turquoise green and just draw on some little lines for that cupcake wrapper. There is a solid cherry and also sprinkles. And the sprinkles I stamped with Lawn Fawn Plastic Flamingo ink, and the cherry I stamped with Lawn Fawn Lobster ink, and I'll be die cutting all of those with coordinating dies as well. About this point, I'm always so nervous I'm going to get my hand in the ink. It does stay wet a little bit longer than some markers because these are a water-based marker, and so after I color in the lamp, which I'm coloring with red and light carmine, as well as a little platinum brown for where it hinges, I'm going to die cut some of my images and kind of get them laid out on my card and see how it's all coming together. And then I'll come back and color the remaining images and die cut those for my card design. Just made it a little safer for me because, like I said, I'm always so afraid I'm going to get my hand in that and smear the ink. It has happened before. Here's that inside piece for the Love Poems stamp and die set. We're going to die cut the center of that piece of paper out because that's actually going to be open and reveal the wheel that turns and shows us a whole bunch of different things. So I'll die cut these. I'm going to kind of set it all aside, ready to go. And then we are going to lay it all out, just kind of see how it's coming together. I was really anxious to see how the desk, the typewriter, and the paper are all coming together, all working together. But we're going to need that typewriter before we can really start assembling a whole lot. I did assemble the frame. It's going to kind of clean up that frame we die cut in our reveal wheel background. But then let's get that typewriter colored in. And this is where my big pop of mint comes in my card design. I wanted my typewriter to be mint. I'm using turquoise green and green shadow for the majority of the typewriter, cool gray 1 for the keys on the typewriter, and then peach pink and sugared almond pink for the little heart. You can actually customize that top row of the typewriter. There's a couple different options in the You're Just My Type stamp set. And then platinum brown for the rest of the typewriter. Like the little handle or the bar that goes to the handle, and then the top of the typewriter. And I love how the mint typewriter turned out. That little pink heart, perfect little accent, helps tie it all together. So once we have that, we're just going to color in, or die cut this, pardon me, and kind of start putting everything that we've already stamped and die cut, colored. We're going to start putting that together, and then we can add those remaining few embellishments. So here is my desk, the typewriter, the paper. So cute, you guys. I just can't get over how much fun this is. So I need to make sure my typewriter is lined up perfectly, which helps me with my desk, and everything on this I'm centering. You definitely wouldn't have to. You could shift your images over. They don't have to be exactly in the center. And then we've got our typewriter, and we have it looking like the paper's coming up out of the typewriter, and then it's simply going to turn back behind there. We're going to have our lamp next to the typewriter over on the right. And I'm going to use a pair of craft tweezers holding that down. I'm adhering these things with liquid adhesive. We've got our little mouse sitting down on the ground looking up at the typewriter. We've got our 2 additional mice, the one sitting up next to the typewriter on the left, and then the one peeking out from the side of the desk over on the right. These remaining images, what I love is that they think they tie into the scene really well, and they're sized the right size, scale-wise. Looks really good with this. I'm using a fine tip black pen to add the detail for the hello on the little card, as well as the face on the envelope and the tip of the pencil. Once these images are colored in, we're going to die cut these with the coordinating Just For You dies. And then we can finish putting together our scene. Stamp a few little things on the front of our card, and then the reveal wheel, that interactive element, is the final step for this one. One of my most favorite things about Lawn Fawn is just how versatile everything is and how you can use stamps from past stamp sets. Some of these stamps have been out for several years, you guys, and I think that it's phenomenal that you can use them with things that just came out just in the last few weeks or months, and look at how great everything works together. It's so exciting. I think it just really extends the life of things you already have, yet gives them a fresh spin. I haven't used some of those little images from Just For You in forever, and it really kind of reinvigorated me wanting to find ways to use some of the other images, just because it's such a great little set. So we've got a couple cards, or the card in the envelope, the one mouse holding the pencil, the little cupcake down here on the ground. So cute, so much fun. Let's go ahead and add the sentiment along the bottom of the card. That's going to be just a little note to say, and then the Happy Valentine's Day that we're going to add to the bottom desk drawer. We're going to stamp those with clear embossing ink and heat emboss with white embossing powder. If there are any embossing flakes anywhere that they are not supposed to be, I like to take a dry paintbrush and remove those before heat embossing. I have used a powder tool as well prior to stamping and embossing, and you're going to want to buff away any of that excess powder with a dry cloth or your finger or something after the embossing powder has completely dried. So there is part of that. Now up at the top of the card, there's a nice little spot there that I'm just going to stamp the click, clack, and ding sentiments from the Love Poems stamp set. And I thought those would just be a nice little additional embellishment up there. I stamped those with plastic flamingo ink. And then I've die cut my reveal wheel from Bristol Smooth cardstock as well, because remember, the paper that is up at the top coming out of the typewriter is peach pink and sugared almond pink. I want the paper that's revolving around inside to look the same. And in order to do that, I colored in the inside portion of the reveal wheel with these two colors, and I'm just going to work my way around. I don't like to take it all the way to the edge, but you definitely could. It would be easier. That way it leaves the scallop edge white. That's the part you see over on the side of the card where you actually turn it. Then we're going to take the most fantastic tool. I absolutely love that Lawn Fawn does this for all their reveal wheel add-ons, the reveal wheel square template. And I took the one that has 4. There's a 3 and a 4, depending on how many you want to have. And I've stamped images from the Love Poems stamp set on there. And from the You're Just My Type set, we have the XOXO, and then we have I could have just texted ... but I made you this card, and then finally love you like a lot. We're going to line that up with the back, kind of make sure it's where it's supposed to be. Add the extra reveal wheel piece with a brad, and then attach that to a background reveal wheel panel. And once we have that, we can place foam adhesive all over around the background panel, but not right next to the reveal wheel. We want it to turn well, but adding that foam adhesive allows the reveal wheel to really turn nicely. And then we can simply remove the backing paper from all of the foam adhesive squares, line up the front panel with the back panel, and secure it there, and we are going to have a fantastic interactive card design. Isn't that so cute? Then I'm going to take a white top fold card base. I am going to be stamping from the You're Just My Type stamp set. I love that included in this is the Turn Me. There's also a pull here and a push here. So if you're making different kinds of interactive cards, everything is kind of right here for you. We are going to stamp Turn Me with the arrow using Plastic Flamingo Lawn Fawn ink. Right there along the right side, we're going to pop our reveal wheel panel in place. And then on the inside of the card, we're just going to finish with the sentiment, You're Just My Type, which is the name of the main stamp set that we're using today. We're going to stamp that with Plastic Flamingo ink to finish off our card. So this first card, that is our reveal wheel, Just My Type interactive card design. The second card is going to be the pull tab slider using the Let's Toast pull tab add-on. So there was a set that's called Let's Toast. You can put that notch anywhere you want it to go. We're going to start, we have this small stitch rectangle that I die cut from the Peony Hero Hues cardstock. We stamped it with the quilted hearts background just like we did with the first card, and now we're creating the notch. And I am lining this one up in the center. However, you want to shift that typewriter over to the left or the right. Make sure that you put your notch there. I already had a very good idea of where everything was going to go for my card, so I wasn't too concerned with that, and I just centered it. I'm also drawing a straight line right down from the center of where that notch is, very, very lightly with my pencil because I need to erase that. And then I need to put the little line die, and again, so awesome. It comes in the You're Just My Type collection. There is this little die so you can do the pull tab slider. And you want to do it with the image down, where like the top of that image is going to go, which in this case is the paper with the mouse. So in the down position, at the very top of that, I made a little notch mark. Then I'm going to take that little straight die, and there's one in Let's Toast, or you can use the one that comes with the You're Just My Type. We're going to line it up right underneath that notch along our line that we made, tape that in place, and run it through our die cutting machine. Then once we remove that, we can get rid of our pencil lines. So I'm just going to take my eraser and get rid of my pencil lines. I have also die cut the interactive pull tab element from Let's Toast from the Peony cardstock, as well as that little other piece that's going to hold it in place, and we're just going to fold it in and then thread it through the back of our panel to the front, and just leave that end, the top of it, long for now. We can trim that down after a bit. And I'm just going to test it to make sure that it's going to slide. Everything looks like that's going to work. Again, I've laid out my stamps and things, so I kind of have a good idea how it's all going to come together. And then we're going to glue this little tab here together. Just a little tiny dab of glue. I'm going to thread it over my pull tab element on my card. And then right below the notch, we're going to secure it. We're going to secure this to the card with a little bead of liquid glue. This is going to give stability to our pull tab so that it's not sliding side to side, so that it goes straight up and down when the recipient grabs it and pulls it up. I am just coloring in all of these images. This is mostly all the same things as from the first card. The only addition is from Keep On Swimming. I've got the backward facing cat, so we can have our cat and mouse sitting next to each other staring up at the desk. And then the paper, I guess I want to say, only has one sentiment on it, and I decided to use You're Seriously the Best. I stamped and embossed that in white. And this whole sheet then with the mouse is going to be the thing pulling up out of the typewriter, which is so stinking cute, you guys. Love, love, love this. Let's go ahead and add our flooring and baseboard to the bottom of this scene as well. Same two papers from the Honeybee Stamps Home Essentials pattern paper pad. And what you want to remember with this is that the elements that the piece of paper or whatever it is sliding up out of need to be popped up. That kind of gives a nice little casing to the elements. I went ahead and adhered the paper with the mouse directly to the little tabs there that come through the back of the card, that pull tab slider. And then we're going to build around where the paper's coming out with foam adhesive. So that means for this card, the very bottom of the typewriter is going to need to be attached to the desk. And then the desk and typewriter are popped up. And I want to make sure I don't put adhesive right there in the center because the paper needs to be able to slide down there back behind it. It's mostly behind the typewriter, but a little bit probably is going back behind that desk. So I kind of keep testing this out, making sure that the foam adhesive is where it needs to go. And I think I put a little too many strips there on that one side, the right side. And when I have that the way I want it, I can go ahead and peel off the backing paper, and I've glued the typewriter to the very top of the desk. And we're going to pop this up right over the center of the paper. I can't wait to show you how this works. It's so stinking cute. And I did put a little foam adhesive behind the handle there that sticks out just to help give it a little stability. And then in that down position, we will line it up. That looks perfect. And then when you pull that pull tab, look at the paper coming out of the typewriter. So cute. Okay, next, we really just have the rest of our images. So I've got a little sentiment that I'm going to stamp up here along the top of the card. We're going to stamp again that just a little note to say with plastic flamingo ink. When the paper and the mouse are down inside the typewriter, it's easy to read. And then when you pull the pull tab, it reveals the rest of the sentiment. So you're seriously the best. Just a little note to say, you're seriously the best. Very, very cute. Let's get the rest of those images colored. I only kept in the video coloring the cat since that's the only different image from the first card. We're coloring in the kitty with brown and light brown. And then we're going to color, shade, die cut all the things. We've got pretty much everything that we used on the first card we're using on the second, with the exception, instead of the extra mice, we've got the cat here. And the cat and the mouse are going to be sitting next to each other down on the ground in front of the desk, looking up at the desk with the mouse coming out of the typewriter. After I've shaded my cat, I did go in and draw some little tabby stripes. Now, because the desk and typewriter are popped up, many of the elements for this card are popped up as well. I think the only thing I didn't pop up was the pencil. And that just makes everything go together much better. The cat and mouse can overlap parts of the desk because it's popped up. The cupcake and the lamp need to be popped up to kind of be all flush with the typewriter. Those are on either side. Do make sure, I did get a little too aggressive with my foam adhesive for the desk lamp, and it went too far out and I wasn't able to pull up my paper, so I removed one of those little foam adhesive squares and it worked perfectly. We've got our card and our envelope that we'll just lay down here kind of sitting on the ground, as well as the heart pencil. And that is basically it for the front of the card. We just have the finishing touches for this one, and then again, this panel is going to be attached to a card base with foam adhesive, because that foam adhesive just makes it a little easier to grab the pull tab on this one and pull it up. So around the pull tab mechanism, I'm adding the foam adhesive, but not actually on that. And we've trimmed down. When it's in the down position, you can trim it to be flush with the top of your panel. So I cut off the excess, and then I've die cut the pull tab portion from some Gina K Passionate Pink cardstock. We're going to stamp pull here from the You're Just My Type stamp set with clear embossing ink and heat emboss with white embossing powder. We're going to fold that in half. And glue it to the top of the pull tab mechanism so that the recipient knows that the card does do something. I mean, I think the little notch does kind of let you know, but I always like these little words that tell the recipient exactly what to do. You know, turn me, or turn here, pull here, push here, whatever it might be. And we're heat embossing this with white embossing powder. I think it just ties in so nicely with the rest of what we have going on the card. And I'm going to put liquid adhesive, or I'm going to fold it in half first and I'm buffing away just that excess powder tool after the embossing powder has dried. Glue on both sides of the tab. We're going to use some craft tweezers to hold that down, hold it flat in place until that liquid glue dries a little bit. We'll pull the backing paper off the back of the panel, glue it to the center of a white top fold card base. And our second interactive card design with the You're Just My Type stamps and coordinating dies and the love poems add-on stamp set are all finished. So here's a look at that pull tab slider in action. How cute is that? Isn't that so much fun? It really is seriously the best. I just love it. I love that there are additional ways to use previously released product in new and exciting ways, and there's of course the reveal wheel. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for these 2 interactive cards featuring Lawn Fawn stamps and dies. The supplies I used to create my cards are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here are a couple more videos featuring Lawn Fawn products that you might be interested in. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel so that you never miss a new card making video. Thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll catch you next time.